what ideas come to mind when you say the word suite? The word suite can mean many things. Yes please. Hotel room? Thanks for the upgrade. But in the air, the word is being used by airlines to add a sense of luxury to their business class product. And Delta is rocking its shiny new Delta One suite. Having found a very tasty deal, we couldn't say no. Good morning and welcome to a very quiet Amsterdam airport, and that's because it's 5:30 in the morning, and today travelling a pretty exciting route. It's kind of one of those bucket list things I've just been meaning to do, travelling with Delta on the A330-900. Now usually I'd be going to departures to check in, but because I came in from a connecting flight yesterday with KLM, there's no need, so it's straight through security. The KLM check-in was looking pretty calm and peaceful. However, back in April when I travelled after flying with Finnair, which was a life-changing experience, despite having 2.5 hours between my flights, I wasn't sure I was going to make the flight back to Birmingham. So be warned. Humans are creatures of habit, so despite trying different airlines, I often find myself starting in Amsterdam. It's fun, plenty of planes, and don't forget the viewing area on the roof. One of the best things about Amsterdam Airport is the clock. It is so much fun to watch because there's like a guy inside. He's not really inside, obviously, it's just an illusion. Amsterdam Schiphol Airport is KLM's hub and home, so naturally they have the largest lounge in the airport. It's quite the experience because those illuminated escalators are surrounded by tiny porcelain representations of Dutch houses. Note you can only collect these if you're flying business class. KLM and Delta, who I'm flying today, are both part of SkyTeam Alliance, which grants me access because I'm travelling in business class. Otherwise you need gold or platinum frequent flyer status. I was here previously after flying KLM's wondrous little Brazilian beauty, the Embraer E195-E2. I managed to get a cheap last minute upgrade. In comparison to last time, it's dead quiet, and I welcome that because it's nearly 5:30 in the morning. God, this is going to be another long day. The selection of food is good and can be described as comfort food. English breakfast, or Dutch in this case, lots of pastries and ham and cheese. Fruit, and these delightful egg chicken muffins. Just around the corner is the bar, which is Heineken inspired. But it was unstaffed because let's face it, who wants a pint at 5 in the morning? And beyond these, the stairs take you up to my favourite part, which is great for those who have suffered a long flight and are feeling pretty tired. Comfortable private chairs with views once it becomes daytime. The lighting is pretty good. No massive fluorescent lights overhead, which really helps to set the mood and eases any jet lag. Showers are also available and there's a good amount of them, but you need to use a machine to be notified once one becomes available. So as lounges go, the KLM lounge is really nice. I love the lighting in the morning. I do know from experience in the afternoon it gets really busy, so if you can, try and do a morning flight. After a lot of research, I was lucky to have found today's deal for this route because often they will try and place you on the older product, which I personally would avoid if you can. My return leg was with KLM, but after a schedule change it just didn't work out. And after some research I managed to get a return journey from San Francisco with Air France on the Boeing 777-300. Let's hope I get a last minute cheap upgrade to La Première. Having spotted today's plane, it's pretty obvious that this is a new Airbus A330 because of the shadow around the windows at the front. I'm just pleased there wasn't an equipment swap. I personally otherwise couldn't tell the difference. So what's in store for today? Delta Flight 57 departs Amsterdam at 9:15, heading towards Salt Lake City, taking about 10.5 hours.
more than enough time to try out the Delta One suite. The A330-900 is divided into 3 sections, with business class between the first and second door, followed by premium economy. Spread over 8 rows, business class is laid out in a 1-to-1 configuration, and unlike on other airlines, there aren't really any couple seats, as they're staggered left or right. Solo travellers should go for rows 2, 4 or 6, as they're close to the window. Row 8 only has 1 seat, but I would personally avoid this because it only has 1 window. I always enjoy a nice view of the cabin, and definitely value a window seat, so I've chosen seat 6A.
Welcome aboard Delta's One Suite.
Pre-departure, I've met the really bubbly members of cabin crew, and have been offered a glass of champagne. A pair of slippers, which are always useful for visiting the bathroom, are on the side next to the very deep blue amenity kit. Nowadays, the safety video is almost a marketing tool, and credit to Delta, I did enjoy it.
Welcome aboard, and thank you for choosing Delta. Stow all carry-on items securely in an overhead bin.
If you lose an electronic device in your seat, do not adjust your seat and ask a crew member for help.
It's time for the takeoff, and in terms of video quality, it's mid-morning, middle of March, and there is plenty of cloud. Either way, enjoy. Some comments online complain about the seat being too tight, and at 22 inches in width I can see why. I was very comfortable, but found it a little bit tight in the bed mode. The seat features this very alluring blue leather, with the Delta symbol embroidered on the headrest. Despite not having angled business class seats, the footwell is unfortunately quite tight. The side table is sort of a modern take on marble, with a very attractive pattern. I love it. Plenty of seat buttons and controls for the lighting. A universal plug socket and not 1 but 2 USB-A plug sockets. And just above is a beautiful light fixture, headphones and water. The Delta One Suite even features a door, which is probably one of the most quirkiest and gimmicky things about modern business class travel. Even with the height of the walls, it's sort of private. I did eat in the lounge, but wanting to enjoy the full on-board experience, I kept things to a minimum, so I'm pretty hungry. I do enjoy being helpful, so I've figured out how to deploy the tray table, which once extended is pretty snug. No escaping for me. And the pre-meal service breakfast starts off with a fresh hot towel. And to further get myself comfortable, as it's now 6 AM, I've removed my shoes and deployed the slippers, which feature the Delta logo. Pretty cool. The cabin crew are really fun, and there's no mocktails on board, so they've kindly made me what they call a kids mocktail. I'm not sure what goes into it, but I'd love to have 5 more. Not a surprise, but this came with a bowl of nuts. I know due to allergic reactions, some airlines opt for crackers, but this will do nicely. For some reason, I decided to take advantage of the pre-order menu, and decided to go all healthy. Starting off with a plate mainly consisting of prawns and gherkins. On the side a croissant, and a fresh plate of fruit. Before finishing with the birch and muesli, which comes with raisins, granola, mango, raspberry, and fresh shavings of coconut. What I did find interesting was this nicely presented roll of butter, and the cabin crew were really proactive, bringing me another mocktail. I thought we were done, so I was pretty surprised when they asked me if I wanted an American sundae. God yes, I replied. This is right up there in my top 5 systems. It's so visually appealing and rocks an 18.5 inch display. It's also pretty close to you, so it seems huge. No squinting required. To some degree, it doesn't really matter which airline you fly, because they all have excellent selection of titles and all seem to have the newest releases. I'll just quickly scroll through the section just to see what was available during March. The in-flight map is really modern, with lovely crisp graphics. Perhaps not quite as interactive as some other airlines, where you can select the cities on the map for further information. Internet was also available, with full access for the entire flight costing $25 US. As those two mocktails and the champagne catch up with me, I'm heading to the bathroom, which is very standard, very plastic, white and grey. But it's amazing what a bit of blue lighting and a dark panel below the sink does to improve the design. Amenities are from Grown Alchemist, never heard of them, but they were lovely. And in no way essential, but unlike the older sibling, the Airbus A330, there's no window to stare out of. Having returned to my seat, it's time to close my eyes for just a few hours. So using the button on the side panel, I've put the seat into bed mode, arranging the blanket pillow in a reasonable fashion, which I add came in this really nice looking drawstring bag. And once I've crawled in, the footwell, as you can see, is pretty snug, but not terrible. Wanting to stretch my legs, I head to a different bathroom, which looks the same, right at the back of the plane in economy. This also gave me the chance to check out the snack section in the galley for business class. It's a really good selection, and I was surprised to see street waffles and madeleines, which are a beautiful French cake. We were now over Hudson Bay and Coral Harbour, which is just north of Winnipeg, and that lovely member cabin crew had seen I'm awake and asked if I wanted anything. A cup of tea, and then from nowhere a hot cookie was presented, and I completely lost all sense of manners.
Here we go! Cookie! Nom, 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 nom.
Not long after, and just before landing, this was followed by some traditional American cuisine. A cheese hamburger with onion mustard sauce, cold slaw, and a few cream-filled cakes. Quite the contrast to the very healthy breakfast I had at the beginning of the flight. Absolutely no complaints though. After thoroughly enjoying myself, this has been such a pleasure, but 10 hours is enough time in any seat. What was a surprise though was the weather in Salt Lake City. Much like Europe, the weather was grey, with highs of 7 and lows of -3, and I didn't even bring my coat. It appears I might have been a little bit distracted thinking about those always long immigration queues and my connecting flight with Delta. So it appears I didn't record an ending in person. So here we go, narration at the ready. This has been one of the funnest flights since I set up the channel at the end of 2022. There's no denying that this is such a luxurious sea, with beautiful lighting and a really well sized in-flight entertainment screen. The food may not suit everybody, and especially if you don't like fast food, but the first meal was spot on for business class. If this is how all Delta cabin crew are, then I've been flying the wrong airline for some time, and while it's not the most generous seat in the world, I would highly recommend it. Thank you so much for watching.